Hi, my name is Paul and I like to go places. In today's video, we're at Sugar Lake and we're going along the, I guess it's the west side of the lake. When you get to the bottom of the lake off of Highway 6, you can actually go in either direction, but the main Sugar Lake Road is on the west side of the lake. So we're going to be heading up that direction, taking a look at any of the wreck sites along the way. There's a waterfall we're going to visit. And we're going to basically just keep going along this forestry road way past the lake, and there's another lake way up in the middle of nowhere that I want to take a look at. So I did bring a bunch of extra gas with me because I think it might be a bit of a long drive. So yeah, I think to get started though, we're going to talk a little bit about the Jeep because I haven't had a full video like this out in probably like 2 months now, and there's been a lot of updates. Yeah. Okay, so to get started, I think at some point in September, I started hearing a noise from somewhere underneath the vehicle, and because the Jeep is so small, it's kind of difficult to figure that out sometimes as to what it actually could be. But for troubleshooting purposes, I did undo the front drive shaft and just tie it off to the frame, went for a drive. The sound stopped, so I figured, all right, drive shaft rebuild time. So I pulled the entire drive shaft off, and I took my time rebuilding that, mainly because I had to order in the centering ball piece. I already had U-joints on hand, but I'm not too familiar with Jeep drivetrains, and I didn't know that the centering ball was even a thing. So once I saw that, I was like, okay, I've got to order that part. And so I basically took my time to get all that right. However, in the middle of that project, my fuel pump died while I was out shopping, leaving me stranded in a parking lot. I was not happy about that. It was $170 to tow the Jeep back to my house, and I immediately ordered a replacement fuel pump. I ordered the exact same kind that was in there. It's the Bosch, is the OEM, I think, on that one. And that, of course, happens to be the most expensive one on Rock Auto. So the fuel pump assembly with the shipping was 350 Canadian dollars. But I don't want my fuel pump ever dying again, so I wanted the best one I could possibly use. And unfortunately, like I had just like filled up the gas tank. It was full. I don't have a good working area to work on the Jeep, so I made the decision to, instead of dropping the tank and all that crap, I decided to basically make a hole in the back and then do a custom panel cover on there as like a quick access if I ever need to get in there again. A lot of people didn't really like that I did that. But yeah, I own the Jeep, so I can do whatever the hell I want to it. And like, honestly, this is kind of like a trail rig for me. And had there already been a quick cover in there, I could have replaced the fuel pump in a parking lot. So I'm not saying it's ever going to die again, but I plan on owning this Jeep for a really long time. So if I ever need emergency access to the fuel tank, at least I can do that without spending however long it takes to drop the fuel tank. I mean, it doesn't sound like it's a very bad job, but it's not something I could do in a parking lot. So yeah, the tow bill to get that back to my house was annoying enough that I figured, whatever, I'll just put that quick cover in there so I could easily just do that again if I really had to. So yeah. Other than that, I don't know if I ever mentioned it in one of my previous videos, but I did finally receive my upgraded tie rod there. That was something that I ordered on Amazon, the Rough Country one, and they like lost the first one, so it took like a month to actually get one of those in. Yeah. Everything else in the Jeep though is doing pretty good. In some of my previous videos, I think I mentioned about an annoying ticking sound that I've had for like the longest time. And I pretty much knew it was an exhaust leak because it sounded exactly like an exhaust leak. And it never happened on a cold start. It would only start to become noticeable after the engine warmed up. So that doesn't sound like a mechanical thing, because if it was lifter tick, that would just happen immediately. But what I finally decided to do was actually go hunt for the exhaust leak, and now that it's actually cold enough, I didn't really need to use a smoke machine to do it. I let the Jeep run, get the operating temperature, and then I kind of looked around for where condensation is coming from. And condensation is coming from like one joint that I made further down the exhaust pipe, as well as the corner of the manifold right next to the firewall. That spot, I think, is notorious for the bolts just coming loose and exhaust leaking from there. So, like, I routinely torque those bolts and everything else, but I don't know, for some reason it just felt like leaking out there again. So I went in there and I basically torqued the shit out of all of the bolts toward the firewall there. This is my first drive since doing that, and the engine noise is noticeably quiet. I think I can still hear a very tiny bit when I don't have my stereo on and I stick my head out the window. But it's nowhere near as bad as it was before. So yeah, that's all the sounds I was hearing. That sounds definitely like it was an exhaust leak. Mechanically, the engine seems to be perfect. My oil pressure is always perfect. When I do an oil change, the oil that comes out has no flaws. I mean, it's just used oil. It has no hints of contamination. So yeah, everything else seems to be running perfectly. It was just sounding like ass. So I'm glad I managed to finally deal with that. So yeah. Other than that, I did manage to give it the first wash of the year a couple weeks ago, and it's gonna get all muddy again today. I don't really care, but I also replaced these latches. The rubber ones were tearing on the inside, so I just bought the cheapest metal ones on Amazon. I mean, they're not the greatest, but they seem to be doing the job. I have no idea how long it's going to last, but yeah. And other than that, one thing I wasn't really aware of is how much the sway bar moves when you're off-roading. And I had replaced the bushings in there, and it was starting to squeak really loudly, and I realized because the bar keeps moving back and forth and it's squeaking when it does that. So I got these cheap pieces of metal that clamp onto the sway bar to stop it from moving back and forth. That appears to have done the job. So yeah, I don't know. But yeah, I managed to get rid of most of the annoying sounds on the inside. I've got cargo nets that are in there that strap to the like the roll bar stuff that's in there, and it kept squeaking because of the old styrofoam in there moving against the metal. So I pulled out a lot of that styrofoam, kind of like on the back half of the Jeep. I pulled out all that styrofoam because my cargo netting hangs specifically right in that area. So now when I'm off-roading, I don't hear that squeaking nonstop. Yeah. So, yeah, I think we're pretty much almost perfect now. And unfortunately, it's just in time for a winter. It's pretty cold out, and some of the areas that I wanted to go this year are already covered in snow. So what we're basically going to do today is continue heading up this direction on the lake, and I'll just basically show you some of the different stuff along the way. So between the lake and the main forest road is this small road, and this is where there's a bunch of wreck sites. So when you're on the forestry road and you just kind of pass where all the cabins are, where people have their houses and stuff, you'll see a turn off with a sign showing all the different wreck sites. I can't remember exactly, but I think this eventually will connect back up to the forestry road, although it does have a sign that says no through road. But yeah, this is the side road where you go to find all of the wreck sites that let you basically camp along the lake. So we were just at the first one that I found, and I think there's probably a couple more along this road here. Okay, so the spot we're at right now is called 2 Mile Wreck Site, I believe. And this is actually a larger kind of camping area. So there's actually a bunch of spots. There's a boat ramp down that way. I'm not sure whatever that is, but yeah, this is also right on the lake. Definitely a nice place, but I don't prefer to camp in busier areas. I kind of like the kind of like the single spot camping areas, you know, where you find out in the middle of nowhere. But yeah, I imagine this place gets pretty popular in the summer, so sufficient facilities. There's like outhouses there, and I think also around where those spots were, there was a couple of other outhouses in there. So but yeah, this looks like a pretty nice spot. But yeah, let's keep going, I guess. Okay, so there's the entrance to that 2-mile camping area. Turns out that is the end of this road, so we do have to backtrack back to the other road, the main road, and there's another side road we'll get to hopefully after this with smaller camping sites. So yeah, let's make our way back. And just listening to the frequency there. What was I saying? Oh yeah, let's make our way back to that main forest road and find more smaller camping spots. All right, so we just came in from that direction, and this is right around the 8-kilometer mark. This other road here is now where there's more wreck sites. I think I was already at this spot before. That's just a gate. No through road. Yeah, so this continues on, I think, for a little bit, and then there's some small camping spots along the way we'll try and take a look at. So there's a day use area here, but you can't like really park anywhere except for just on like the side of the road here, I guess. But yeah, that's some beach area down there. But yeah, there's a sign that says no camping. And there's at least one other spot further up this road, which is also right on the lake. So let's take a look at that. So the road does basically run right next to the lake here. So there is a lot of area where I guess you could, you know, pull off and just enjoy the beach or something like that. Although this is a fairly narrow road. So yeah, and the road itself though is in reasonably decent shape. It looks like people clear off any trees that fall down, so that's not bad. All right, this is Sugar 3.5 mile. There's that outhouse there. This looks like it's just a single spot camping area. Yeah, this is a spot I was at the last time I was in this area, right on the lake. Really nice. Well, let's take a look. So yeah, there's an outhouse right up there. I guess fairly flat there. You put a tent, or right over here, I suppose. And I suppose you could get a truck with a boat down in here. So yeah, this is the view of the lake with your basically like your own private beach here. There's a couple islands there, I believe it is. Somewhere on that side of the lake is another wreck site. I covered that in a previous video when I was trying to get to the lookout, which is somewhere on the tops of one of these mountains here, and it's already covered in snow, the trail to get up there, unfortunately, so I won't be doing that this year. But yeah, there's a couple islands there. I was thinking about doing a camp on one of those at some point with my inflatable kayak. I was probably going to go to the other side of the lake and boat over there. Seems like a nice enough day. I probably could have done that today before it gets super cold, but yeah, we're in November now, so. But yeah, this is definitely a nice spot for camping. All right, so we're back on the main Sugar Lake Road here. Here's another spot. This is a 9-mile wreck site, and this is basically right off the road. There's room for a bunch of people here, I guess. A bunch of picnic tables. Decent looking washroom. So yeah, this is not too bad. Of course, right on the lake. This is too close to the road for my camping preferences, so I would never actually want to camp here. But yeah, it does seem to get it pretty busy, I guess. So, but yeah, we're gonna continue on Sugar Lake Road. I think our next stop.
Hey, Mike, I'm gonna give you over.
I think our next stop is going to be possibly the waterfall. And when you're on this road, you should be listening to the radio, because this is a very busy road, I think, for logging traffic. Well, right now anyway. So yeah, you definitely should be listening to the frequency. So let's go. All right, so to get to the waterfall, that's Sugar Lake Road there. Find the sign that says Monashee Provincial Park. And when you come down this way, you'll pass some sort of like log storage yard or on the left here. So you'll see this gated area, and that's how you know you're in the right spot. So yeah, I'll show you how to get to this waterfall. So the road that you follow will cross that bridge there, and then there's a fork in the road. To the right, I think will eventually take you to the road that runs on the other side of the lake. And we're gonna go to the left, and that should eventually connect us with the waterfall. This is just like a small makeshift camping area that's just on the side of the road there. I stopped in here to take a look at the I don't know, it looks kind of neat, like the haze on the water right now. So it's also pretty peaceful here. So yeah, we're going to continue heading up in that direction there, and then there's a couple more turns, I think, but there will be signs. So yeah, let's go. Okay, so apparently I still can't remember how to actually get to the waterfall, even though I was just here like 2 weeks ago. After you cross the bridge, I think we do need to go to the right. So where it says Monashee Provincial Park, I think if we follow that sign, that takes us to the same direction that we're going, and then there's going to be another turn at some point. Because I was just going the other way, and that did not look familiar at all. So, yeah, okay. We're going to the right. Yeah. Okay, yeah, this is the right direction. Because the road continues that way, and then there's a turn here, and there's a sign that says Rainbow Falls 1 kilometer. So, let's head up here. And this is also called Falls Road. So as we head up here, there's gonna be another turn off to the right, and that shouldn't be too far ahead. And that takes you to a small parking area where you take a short hike down. And yeah, this is probably a not maintained road anymore. I don't know. Lots of potholes. And I think we're getting to the turn right in here. Okay, yeah. So this right in here, another sign that says Rainbow Falls. Now, the one thing I do remember from the last time I was here, go slow when you reach these potholes, because one of these was so brutal that it ejected me from my seat. I think it was right in there. Yeah, like, oh man. I hit that going a lot faster the last time I came in here, and I severely regretted it. So yeah, when you get to this part, go very slow, and probably don't bring a car in here, because yeah, I don't think you're gonna make it. So but yeah, the parking area is there's only a short distance up here. All right, so we've reached the parking area, and the actual falls are pretty close. You can hear them from here. Now, there's a couple trails. There's a trail that goes up there. That's not the way to the falls. I don't know where it goes. It just keeps going in that direction. When I was here, I accidentally followed that trail thinking it was the falls. But no, that's wrong. The trail to the falls, I think, is right in here. And then there's actually a sign, I think. Let's see what it says. All right. So, okay. I don't know if that's the other trail that's that way. I'm not sure. But yeah, Rainbow Falls, 250 meters. So it's pretty close. And it's not too bad. Although it's like, it gets a bit steep because we're basically just going all the way down there. And unfortunately, it is all wet and rainy here. And there's sections where you're walking on like a wooden bridge. And it's not exactly the flattest. So it gets slippery. So you're going to want to be careful in those sections. But yeah. You know, I really actually enjoy this sort of climate. It reminds me of Vancouver and some of the hiking trails that I went to recently, or, well, maybe not recently, but a few years ago I did a trip. I think was I in the Belcarra area? I can't remember, but yeah, this kind of like rainforest climate, I do sometimes miss it because I don't have anything quite like this in Kelowna. It's far too dry. So anyway, let's just keep going. So yeah, it's stuff like this that you know, it's basically just wet logs. So you gotta be careful not to slip on this stuff. It's not really that bad, but I'm really not wearing the best shoes for hiking, so yeah. But yeah, you can kind of see the falls already. So yeah, it's not too bad at all. All right, so we're almost at the falls. There's a sign here that says the viewing platform was donated by Gorman Brothers Lumber. That's this platform here. So, well, make our way down here. Wow. Definitely a pretty nice view. So I don't know if you can really tell on the camera, but there's just so much mist coming off of the waterfall. Yeah, just standing here, you realize that things are gonna get really wet. Kind of reminds me of my girlfriend. So anyway, this is Rainbow Falls. I'm not really sure why it's called Rainbow Falls. If I had to make a guess, I'd say it's maybe when you're out here and it's actually sunny, maybe you can see a rainbow because of all the mist. So I don't know. But yeah, there's, I don't know, little trails that people have made that kind of go off in different directions here. Everything there is slippery though, so I'm not gonna try and get out there on the rocks or anything like that. I think the viewing platform is, you know, pretty decent, although, you know, you do have some trees in the way, but yeah, it's pretty neat. And I've been out here twice now, never seen anyone else out here, although it's not a weekend, so maybe on a weekend it might get a little bit busier, so yeah. Anyway, I'm going to make my way back up all of the slippery wood and get back to the Jeep because we still have a lot more exploring to do today. All right, so we are back on Sugar Lake Road and we are, I can't say for sure what the distance is to get to where I'm trying to reach. There's no cell phone service out here as far as I can tell. So I can't actually load up the map to find out how far I've actually got to go. But we are going a ways into the middle of nowhere. and I'm assuming it should be pretty obvious when we reach the destination, because we're going to a wreck site on a lake that seems to be pretty much right off of this road. But yeah, unfortunately, I have really no idea how long it's going to take to get there. We're at the 27-kilometer marker. If I had to guess, I'd say we're probably looking at maybe another 20 or so kilometers to get there. But yeah, no idea. I probably could have looked that up before I left my house, but I didn't do that. Because why would you bother planning things when you can just get out there in the middle of nowhere and pull it out of your ass or something? So yeah, I guess I'll update you when I manage to figure out where we're going. So apparently my guess was pretty accurate. We're around the 50-kilometer mark. There actually is a road construction just a kilometer or so back there. Basically there's a stretch of road being decommissioned, and there's a detour that's made. It's got warning signs about being under construction, and there was actually a crew out there that I got the information from. But aside from being muddy, you can just make it through there. And yeah, the guy I was talking to said that the actual lake is maybe like another couple kilometers from that point. So if I am on the right road, because there was a fork in the road back there, so I'm gonna have to see if this is the right stretch of road I'm on. But yeah, if it is, we should be reaching a lake sometime soon. So yeah. All right, I found it. So the lake is right in there. The entrance comes in up here. So the way you find this, the easy way, is you keep following Sugar Lake Road, and right around the 55 kilometer mark, there's a giant white diesel tank sitting next to something. When you see that, take a right turn. If you keep following Sugar Lake Road past that, you'll get some switchbacks and it'll just go straight up. That means you went too far. So you take that right turn. It's a small road, lots of potholes, but I mean, it's manageable. And there's like a couple spots right in here. That's where I'm parked. Looks like an outhouse right in there. And the actual lake access, I think, is somewhere down here for like maybe a boat ramp or something. So let's head down here. All right, so this is called, I think, Greenbush Lake or something like that. From further up, it does have a kind of greenish look to it. I don't know, you can't really see it when you're standing here, but when I was further up the road and catching a glimpse of the water, it did look kind of greenish. So, but this is actually a pretty decent sized lake. This is the first time I've been out here, so I wasn't really sure what to expect. The fuck was that sound? Okay, now I'm creeped out. Yeah, I don't know, I thought I heard something kind of in the bushes there. Not really sure. I have no idea what kind of wildlife to expect around here, but yeah, let me just get my precautions out. Yep. Anyway, what was I saying? I have no idea. But I think this would be a nice place to come back with like my little inflatable kayak and I don't know, just explore around. I imagine we're gonna start getting snow here pretty quick though. This probably would be a nice secluded place to do a kind of like a winter camp. I'm not really sure exactly how busy we'd get here. So we had the main camping spots there, and then there were a couple other fire pits along this little path here. So I don't know, I imagine it probably gets busier in the summer because it's way out here and they're in the middle of nowhere and you can make as much noise as you want kind of thing. So yeah. But yeah, the snow is starting to head down the mountains there, and yeah, I'm sure in a few weeks this is all going to be covered in snow maybe. Yeah, we'll see. But yeah, this is pretty much as far as I was going to go on this direction, because if you continue following Sugar Lake Road, like it started going up a mountain, and I started reaching snow. At that point I knew I was way too far anyway, so yeah, I don't think there's really anything else to explore in that direction. There's a lot of active logging that goes off in different directions along Sugar Lake Road, and I don't think I really want to go on any of those roads, and especially because I don't think they actually really go anywhere, not anything like interesting like this. So yeah, I think this is probably the turnaround point for me, although I think I might stay here for a bit longer and make a coffee and some food or something like that. But yeah, if it wasn't so cold out, I would have liked to be out in the water and just kind of poke around the lake a little bit more. So yeah, from up in this camping spot here, I think you can kind of see that that greenish look to the lake. So yeah. Anyway, it's like only 3 o'clock in the afternoon, but it's gonna start getting dark at some point here, and I got a 50-kilometer trip back to the start of Sugar Lake Road, and then another, I don't know, maybe like an hour and a half to make it back to my house. What I'm probably gonna do is maybe try to have a small fire, but it is quite damp out here. I think everything is pretty much wet. I do see some firewood underneath the picnic table there, so I might just have a small fire maybe. But I do have a stove with me for making some coffee and having some warm food, so yeah. This is a pretty nice place to camp. At some point I would like to do an actual camping video out here, I think. Maybe when it's warmer, I think, so I can get out in the water. But yeah, I think it's going to wrap up this video, because when it gets darker, I don't imagine I'll get anything worthwhile on the camera. So I'm still just going to hang out here for maybe at least another hour or so, just enjoying the spot, and then I'll head home. I don't think there's anything else left to say about the Jeep. I think everything at this point is working pretty good. I did also do another recent video, I think it was just a YouTube short, where I was talking about the transmission fluid that I'm trying out. Now that it's getting colder temperatures, my 6-speed transmission, it's kind of on its last leg. Like, it still drives fine, but the synchros, yeah, they pieced out a long time ago. So I have to be very careful about the way I shift. So I recently put in some Royal Purple Synchromax, and that seems to have been the best fluid out of all the ones I've tried so far. So hoping that that works out and I don't have to buy another transmission anytime soon. So yeah, well, I think it's going to wrap it up. And just as a added bonus, if you made it this far, you can watch a video clip of me falling on my ass. So stay tuned for that, and thank you for watching. Oh, fuck. Damn it. Yeah, shit is slippery.